Hi, you guys. How's everybody doing? I'm going to give everybody a couple seconds to get on. So, real life, Reese is not sleeping yet. He is screaming in the background. I was gonna be fancy and have a trim tea, and I decided to have this instead. So while everybody's getting on, I'm just gonna have a drink. Oh man. What's up, Mike Krug? I haven't seen you in forever. How's it going, Court? So I was just telling everybody that Reese is still not sleeping. What's up, Nicole? How's it going, Jess? So Reese is not sleeping. He's screaming in the background. So if you can hear him during this, I'm sorry. I was going to have a trim tea, but instead I decided to have a beer because it's just been one of those days. I think he's cutting his bottom molars, and it has just been ridiculous. What's up, Tamira? Ridiculous. So he's still screaming in the background. We're going to do it anyways. So if you're joining me for the first time, I'm doing this series because a huge part of my passion is being able to stay home with my son and raise him. And I just want to help inspire other people, right, Aubrey? So real, screaming in the background and a beer. Anyways, I just want to inspire people to know it's possible to have both. You don't have to choose between having a job and doing a business, and you don't have to choose between having a job and seeing your children. So that is my why, to stay home with Reese and be present and see my son every day. And I just feel like there's so many other people who want that. And we're just discouraged right now as a society. Like, people just don't believe anymore that it's possible, and we've just kind of given up. So maybe you've done something in the past and you tried another business and it didn't work for you, and you're just scared to try something else. Maybe you just have never been able to take that leap of faith out of your comfort zone and do something else. But whatever it is, I just want to inspire people to start believing again and start just taking that one step to just do something to help change their life. Because you guys, it goes by so fast, and if nothing changes, nothing ever changes. So I just read a quote today: whenever you see a successful business owner, someone made a courageous decision somewhere along the line. We're all just ordinary people. I'm just an average person, and I decided 5 years ago, now almost 6 years ago, to just take that leap of faith and just try. So I'm gonna add Tamira on here. Let me just see if I can get her on. Just give me one sec. So you guys, hi.
Well, they got little small walks because I don't know, for some reason today I decided to let's play with some different foundation. So yeah. Good that people can't see me up close right now.
I just got out of the shower. Was like, I need to put some makeup on because Tamira's gonna look amazing, and I need to like.
No. We'll talk about why.
Well,
we'll talk about why.
That Tamira is one of my favorite people. She is amazing on social media. She's a self-taught makeup artist. She's actually a trainer for a company in our Motives cosmetic brand line. So she knows what she's talking about. She's a trendsetter. She's a blogger, amazing person. So excited to have you.
Oh, thanks, Ashley. We like bonded like right away, like way back when. I remember you driving all the way over to the east side, and we met at the coffee shop. So I think it's a great idea. So of course I'm gonna do it. Chat with my girl.
Almost at the same time.
Yeah, right? Pretty much. Very close. Yeah.
So tell everybody a little bit about you and your background and what you did before Market America, and tell us all the good stuff about you.
I don't know how much is good, but depends on who you talk to. So I don't even know, where do you want me to start? I mean, I actually just celebrated 5 years of my unfranchised business. April 12th. I remember the day I started, like it was yesterday. It actually happened to be my brother's birthday. I had saw the plan that morning. I had actually heard about the concept the night before. Um, and just to rewind a little bit, a girl at the gym kind of stalked me and just made her way closer to me. And she'd been hanging out with my best friend Tanisha, whom you know. Um, and so the three of us would, we started kind of hanging out. And one night she texted me and she says, you're really cool. I mean, it's too bad I'm moving out of town because you probably don't know this, but I'm an entrepreneur. And I go, oh yeah, you're an entrepreneur. What do you entrepreneur with your bad? And she tells me, and she's like, I'd love for you to meet my guy, Shane. He's kind of a big deal. And I'm like, duh. My girls and I know all the big deals in Milwaukee, and I've never heard of this dude. So I look him up, and I don't know why, but at that time, he was actually on Wikipedia. It was him on stage, and they were, saying that it was with Market America. And I actually knew two ladies who had been at least sales reps. I don't know if they were full distributors. They never really fully approached me about the business, but they kept telling me about these products. And so I looked them up online. And so I knew a little bit about what Market America was. And so, she didn't tell me, but when she told me who Shane was, by looking up Shane, I was able to figure out what Market America was. And so I messaged my best friend Tanisha, and I say, hey, do you want to go to dinner with Angie? She's going to introduce us to this guy, Shane, and talk to us about that Market America. And I'm like, I already know we're not doing it, but at least we'll go to dinner and we'll meet some new people. So we go to dinner, and he never presented the plan, but I have to tell you, his professionalism and just hearing the concept, everything just made crystal clear sense to me. So without ever even fully seeing the compensation plan or going to, a meeting of any kind, if I'd known you were drinking a beer, I would have had a wine. I knew that it just made sense for me to do it, especially for, $400 startup. I mean, I have purses that I've spent at least $400 for, and I couldn't sell them and get $400. I knew that I could at least turn that $400 into some sort of tax break. So I began my Market America business, and I really intended on focusing on health and weight loss. I had a hard body. I like to tell everybody I had a hard body when I started the business. And, the makeup just took over, with social media, it just took over. And so that's what I wound up focusing on. And what I did not know when I began my business on April the 12th of 2013, I did not know that that September, my oldest daughter, who was in her 20s at the time, would tell me that she was having a baby. And so my grandson was born April 14th, 2014, exactly a year later. And that just made my why a lot bigger, because when I started the business, my why was I didn't want a boss. I had just gotten out of working in banking. I have 26 years of sales and marketing experience. I'd spent 7 years working for a very large national bank through the ups and the downs, including the housing crisis of 2008, 2009, led really high performing sales teams. And I was just quite frankly burned out. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. I was sick and tired of being overlooked for promotion. I was sick and tired of being unrecognized, understaffed, overworked. And I obviously felt I was underpaid. So it was like, I need to start figuring out doing something for myself. And so I was actually looking at doing traditional brick and mortar. Even after initially starting this business, and things just kind of took off. They didn't stay that way. Everything's kind of cyclical. And I always tell everybody with this business is about personal development. So I had to go through things personally and develop personally. And that is just a continual thing. Your income will seldom exceed your personal development. So here we are today. After my grandson was born, I really wanted to be home with him, because I had spent so much time building other people's fortunes in my lifetime, that I wanted to be able to give to him what I was not able to give to my own children. And that was my 100% presence, because, especially when the kids were teens, it was like I would come home and sometimes I'd be so wound up, because when you're in a leadership role in corporate, like I was, you really don't have anybody to talk to. It can be very lonely, and you're dealing with a lot. You're absorbing a lot. And, I'm kind of an empath. I'm kind of I'm an introvert, so I absorb other people's energy a lot. And so I would come home and it'd be very difficult to leave everything at the door, which was my practice, and be 100% present. Plus there was always interruptions, phone calls, text messages, issues to deal with. And I wanted to be able to give him my undivided attention. So that's when I just ran like nobody's business. And so 2015, I was finally able to come home and be with him. And I don't know, I feel like I keep talking, so you can stop me at any time here. But, I was thinking about this today because a lot of people think it's about creating a business and it's about creating an income. And he's in school now and they live a little bit further away. So I don't have him every day like I did for those years that I did. But I'm so grateful that I did have those years with him where I was with him, all day, every day. Sometimes for days at a time, I would just go to their house and camp out and be with him so that my daughter could go to work. And we were creating memories, so like even with him in school, sometimes Facebook is showing me those memories. They're popping up all over the place, and we created memories. It wasn't just about a job. It wasn't just about a business. It wasn't just about an income. It was about being able to give him the undivided time and attention and creating memories. And I feel like I created memories with my own children, but there's a lot of pressure. And I know you understand this pressure, being the sole provider, being a single mom, sometimes certain things kind of take a back seat when you're in that role. As much as I loved my kids and nurtured and doted on, there are times, especially with them being girls and being emotional, that I look back and I wish I could have been more present without all the interruptions. So it's my pleasure to be able to give that to him because he's my favorite human in the world.
He's so cute.
Thank you.
Said when you sat down with Shane, like it was just a no-brainer. It just made sense. What stood out the most to you? Like, why was it such a no-brainer?
Well, there were a couple things, like the whole concept of you're already spending the money anyway. There was the fact that I had been working in banking, and I'm a very passionate person. So, one of the things we prided ourselves on in any branch that I led was helping those people who could not qualify for credit cards to get the reward debit card. And the administration at that time did away with those. There were some bad things that happened, but the cards themselves, they were not the issue, but they were kind of collateral damage. So being able to carry on that mission with, the cash back program. And I love makeup. I was at the MAC counter like every 2 weeks, beam me up, Scott. So it just only made sense. And then when I went to custom blend training, and learned that matching was not just an issue for women of color, I was like, oh my God, this is going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. So those were some of the things that just made sense. And like I said, it was $400. I mean, I've blown $400 on a lot of things. A lot of things.
Out, right?
Yeah.
So, because you're one of our trainers for our cosmetic brand, tell me, like, I was using the same thing. I was using MAC, Bobbi Brown, Smashbox, NARS. Like, how does it compare in quality?
Well, that's one of the crazy things. So when I sat down and I learned about everything, I was like the custom blend foundation. I live in, southeastern Wisconsin, Milwaukee. The city of Milwaukee alone is over 50% people of color. The custom blend is a huge piece that different is the ability to customize the foundation. It's not just about the match. It's about adding in skincare. It's about your skin type and what your skin actually needs. So being able to bring skincare and cosmeceuticals along with getting your perfect match and really being a part of the process as a customer and developing your foundation. It's not a machine dictating, it is an interaction with a person, and together we come up with this match. The other thing is, when I sat down, I did not ever imagine that within 2 weeks I would just be done with MAC, and nobody told me I had to. I'll tell you what happened was my kid arrived and I started playing with the makeup, and I obviously knew MAC very well because I was spending a good $150 to $200 on MAC each month. So I knew Mac product. And so when this product arrived and I played with it, and it was like, this is good, if not better in some cases than Mac. And either way, it was always competitively priced or priced below Mac. So you're getting Mac, you know, Bobby Brown quality at better pricing. That it just only made sense. It's a full line of cosmetics. We've got foundation, we've got skincare, we've got lipsticks, glitter. I mean, pretty much name it, we have it. So that's that.
Yeah. So obviously when you started, you didn't just quit your job right away.
No.
This is a legitimate, viable, ethical business. It takes 2 to 3 years to build a solid, ongoing residual income. So how did you fit it in while you were still working, raising a child, all of that? Because I know that's a big concern for people. Like, people are busy. Everybody, that's just like a trend now. People are busy. I'm busy all the time.
In the pockets of your life. We all have the same 24 hours a day, 365 days of the year, and it's what you do with that time. So I made the decision for me to not give 1,000% of myself to making somebody else rich, because that's what I had been doing my entire career. I'm an overachiever, type A driven person. When I do something, I do it, I'm in. And I made the conscientious decision to stop giving other people what they did not deserve. I made the conscientious decision to stop casting my pearls before swine. So what that means is I was not coming home overburdened, overladen, beat up, beat down from dealing with someone else's stuff. What happened at the job stayed at the job. When I went to the bathroom at the job, I was posting on social media. You know, the way I like to say it is I gave them their time from 9 to 5, but from 5 till 9, I worked on me and my business.
Yeah. I mean, and I feel like there's always going to be something. Like, there's always going to be something. Like, I know when I was pregnant, I was like, oh, I'm just going to spend so much time and build this business. And then all of a sudden he was here. It's like, you know, now he's 2. It's like and in that period of time, like, there's always something that was coming up. So like, there's no time. Do you agree?
Yeah. I mean, honestly, that's just life, whether you have kids or not, that's life. There's always going to be something. So I think it becomes a matter of some of the things I've worked with people on my team with, having, you know, a family meeting, communicating to your spouse, your significant other, your children, what you're doing and why. One of the biggest things is people especially if they end up like you or I, where we're pretty much working from home 100% of the time. And you have to train the people around you to understand that working from home does not mean I am available to you all the time. These are my office hours. During this time, I am not available. If you give me this time to do what I need to do for us, our family, and our goals, here is what you can get. Here is what we can do by giving me this time. But they have to give you that time, those office hours, and treat it as if you were at a traditional job. And that is how you have to treat it. You have to, you know, they say treat it like a business. Most people don't know how to treat it like a business because they've never run a business. So you have to teach them to treat it like a business. And I mean, like a job. If this were your job, would you get fired? And for a lot of people, the answer is yes, because they're not doing what they would do on a job. So you take some of those same principles of a job. On this day, this is the routine. This is my daily method of operation. These are my checklists. And then you proceed that way. But a lot of it boils down to those things are going to happen. You have flexibility, but you have to communicate clear expectations and accept clear expectations from those closest to you. I mean, even for me as a single woman who's an empty nester, I've had to have conversations with friends and even teammates. I can't sit on the phone with you for 2 hours a day. Because if I'm on the phone with you for 2 hours a day, I ain't making no money. So unless you're going to let me sleep on your couch, I can't sit on the phone with you for 2 hours a day. Yes, you're on my team and I want to spend time with you and help you and develop you. But at the end of the day, I can't do it for you, boo. So me sitting on the phone with you for 2 hours, even if we are working on business, Where's the duplication in that? Because there's only one point of contact. The duplication happens in the group. So you have to set clear expectations and hold people accountable to those expectations. And that's why it's important to know, what do they want and how do you help them get it? So I like what Don and Lisa Martin do. They, as a family, at least once a year, do dream boards, so that their son and their daughter knows that when Don is traveling, it's so that they can go to Disney World, because that's on their dream board. I absolutely love that idea. And I've heard that from mentors in the industry, in the company, outside of the company, that you have to put, and I've seen it work. And it's what I've had to do with my own family and friends. And that's to let people know what those expectations are, and, break it down. Unless you're putting me up on your couch, mama got to do what mama's got to do.
So I've never run a business before this. You've never run a business. I think Angie and Aubrey, both, we'd never really, any of us had run a business before.
Well, I actually was an insurance agent years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
But most people who are looking into something haven't run a business.
Right.
I know before that I started this, I was looking into franchises. I was looking into traditional. I had never run a business, and that was a big fear of mine. So what advice do you have to give somebody who hasn't ever run a business, and what's the beauty in how we make this work for the average person?
Girl, that's its own hour-long session, especially coming from me. Just so you know, you might have to cut me off. Okay. So advice that I would give to somebody who has never run a business: first of all, do it scared. You're going to make some mistakes. The only way to fail is to quit. Okay. So do it scared, and surround yourself with people who are smarter than you and who have run businesses before, whether they're on your team. I've had a team almost from day one in the business. I just have not always had the right team. I have not always had a team who was actively building or led me to other people. But what I always did was I surrounded myself with the right people, both in the company and outside of the company, to help keep it, to screw my head back on when I needed it screwed back on, and to give me guidance, as well as look at how they're doing things and know. And just because you haven't run your own business, you may have in fact done like I did for years, run other people's businesses. And so it's a lot of those same principles that, again, you learned on a job. Now you're just doing it for yourself. And a lot of people think it's risky, but I don't know, maybe I just have a riskier personality, but $400 was just not a lot of risk to me. And, it's not like you have to go and you have to, construct a building. I've been a part of that with McDonald's when, I worked at McDonald's years ago in high school. They're opening new locations. You got to buy the land, you got to construct the building, fill it up with all the equipment and the furniture that it needs, get the staffing, get the insurance. You don't have to do any of that. You don't have to research and develop the products. You don't have to come up with the 4-color marketing materials. All you literally have to do is buy a business in the box, open that box up, read the Getting Started Guide, and do what the Getting Started Guide says. I'm going to tell you, a lot of people don't know this. My sponsor quit a week after I started. The person who brought me into the business quit a week after I started. And the reason why I'm still in business today is because I pulled out that Getting Started Guide, and I did what that Getting Started Guide did. And I just taught other people to do the same thing.
Yeah, we have a proven system.
Yeah, it's a proven system. Very succinctly said, Ashley. Proven system, note taken.
So, tell me what it's like to see Carter every day, and be able to spend time with your daughter, and what would your life be like without this?
Honestly, if I was still working in corporate America, especially in the environment that I was in, I would probably be dead or near dead, to be completely honest with you. It was an unhealthy lifestyle. It was unhealthy, an unhealthy and toxic environment. I would probably look a lot older than I do. I would not be happy, and I would not feel free. I feel like I'm the best me that I've ever been, and I continue to grow into the best me that I've ever been. Try not to get emotional here, because I've always been one who appreciates growth and big into personal growth and development. And there's nothing like feeling like you're just trapped in a container of what people say you should be and who people say you are. And often when people say you should be and who you are really has nothing to do with you. It has more to do with their own limiting ideas and beliefs, or in a lot of cases, they're was a round robin interview with people from multiple departments, and the question came up: do you want to go on the more analytical side or the more creative side? Well, I chose the more analytical side because I believed I could not be creative, because I never excelled at art. I never excelled at anything creative, but there's a lot of different ways to be creative, and I found that. And so now I have the ability to do both, and that it's very freeing to just be able to be who you are and not care what other people think or have to say, and not be a slave to this, especially in the environment that I work in. You had to have a certain look. We all walked into meetings with our token Starbucks cup, all these little things that now I really don't give a shit. I don't care. I just do me. And you take it or love it. And I've always said that about me, but I'm more that than anything. And I think the big difference now is that take it or love it is like, I'm not at war with anybody. It literally is. You take it or you love it. You love it or leave it. Don't matter. I'm going to be fine. You're going to be fine.
I feel like that's probably like the biggest thing for me is the personal growth. I would do it over 100 times again, just because of the person that I've become.
Right.
Like, I'm a different person, and like, I just truly don't, like you said, I don't give a shit about what anybody thinks anymore. I don't care. Like, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. I like myself. I like who I am. I love our business. Like, it's very liberating. It's so freeing.
And I think that's the one thing people have to understand. Even if you started the business, and because it's not for everybody, okay? Even if you registered your business and you came to the conclusion after giving it your best that it was not for you, you still have not failed. Because in you giving it your very best, you had to become the very best that you could be. And so you gained more than you lost in the entire transaction.
Yeah, absolutely. So just one last thing, like, moving forward, anybody who is like on the edge and they're just not sure and they're thinking about doing something, but they're scared, or they haven't been able to step out of that comfort zone, like, what do you give to somebody?
I'm not the right person to ask that because I'm kind of crazy. So I think what you're asking me is how to do it scared. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, like, how do you, for somebody who is scared, how do you start? Like,
it's a difficult question for me to answer because I know what my answer is, and I can only answer from my perspective, and that's just fucking do it. Just get over yourself. Stop literally tripping over yourself and do it. Because to change something, you've got to change something. And whatever you're doing right now for 9.99 Americans is not working, right? It's just not working. And even to the person who says, well, I love my job and I love my boss, I guarantee you, if a new boss walks in your office next week and your current boss is out, you're going to think differently. And it happens because in some environments, they are constantly churning people, and they do it on purpose to create that type of environment where you don't get too comfortable. So just do it. You have absolutely nothing to lose. Just jump in and do it and figure it out. I mean, I swear, some of the mistakes I make, it's like, if I can do this, anybody can do this, even though I do think I'm smart.
Well, nailed it by just saying you need to just get out of your own way.
Yeah.
In the 5 years I've been doing this, the only hold up ever has just been me.
It's me. In the head.
Okay. So it's just getting out of your own way, getting out of your head, and just really like changing your mindset and just taking that first step.
Yeah, stop thinking of all the reasons why it won't work and think of the one reason that that it will. I mean, when you ask what would my life be like if I weren't doing this, my grandson probably wouldn't know me, because even if I wasn't dead, I would be a slave to somebody's job and too tired, and he wouldn't know me as I am right now. The reason I call him my best friend is he first called me his best friend. And I remember when, you know, my youngest daughter, both of my girls went through that phase where they called me their best friend, and I just wanted to hold on to that moment. And you know, having raised two you know, now adult children on my own, I know how fast it goes. And if you're not paying attention, if you're too busy slaving away for somebody else, I mean, I had a job and I was in a relationship where I was severely unhappy, so I started traveling like 2 weeks out of the year. By the time I left that job, it was up to 12 weeks out of the year. You miss a lot during that time, because I cannot see Tristan for a week and I will notice that he's gotten taller. I will notice that he knows new words when I can't tell you when my youngest daughter started walking, or, you know, her first words, or how old she was when she first started speaking, like I can with my oldest, because I was able to be more emotionally and mentally present. And so there's just too much at stake to not at least give it a try. You know, you're going to have to work your butt off for the short term, but in the long term, you're going to be better off. And you know, I even tell, like, I've got some wrestling and soccer moms, you can work your business when your child isn't on the field, or it's not their game, when you're at tournaments, in between, you know, in between, from your phone. There's no better time in history to do it than now, with having supercomputers in our hands by way of iPhones and Androids. There's just no better time.
You bet. All right, well, so much.
You're welcome. Reese must have fallen asleep.
I think he finally just stopped.
Maybe I was too busy talking and I couldn't hear him.
So I just really want to thank you again. It was so great to hear from you. You did amazing, and we are so blessed to have you on week 3. So thank you so much.
I love your smiling face. I appreciate you. Anytime you want me to come back, I'll try not to talk so much next time, okay?
Okay. I'll have you back on. All right. Have a good night.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye.